right, very good. We got it that time, I promise. We got it that time. All right, sir, so tell me what you did on the Liberty ship.
What we're looking at?
Tell me what your job was on the Liberty ship.
I was a deckhand. I was a deckhand, which meant that I would stand wheel watch at sea. At sea, you would stand wheel watches. In port, you would work days, like 8 to 4. You know, regular day shift while you were in port. But out at sea, the wheel is extended.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have nighttime lookout on the bow, and you have daytime. Oh, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, that's okay. When did you join the service, sir?
I joined the service. That was, when was that I joined it?
When you were 17. When you were 17.
Yeah, when I was 17, I went to sea without joining the Coast Guard. So I went to work on New York's tugboats to earn my certificate, you know?
Yeah.
So once I got my certificate, then it took 3 months. Then I was able to ship out. And I thought I'd try it because if I didn't like it, I could quit. Well, yeah, that's the way it was. If you didn't like it, you quit. It was a civilian job.
But it was a very dangerous civilian job, right?
Yeah, it was very dangerous, yeah.
Well, tell me, why was it a very dangerous civilian job?
Well, the submarines were out there, and they were hunting, and we were chasing the submarines.
Do you remember ever seeing a torpedo or anything like that?
Oh, we've seen torpedoes in the water, you know. When torpedoes were shot at a ship and it missed, the ship maybe turned and caused it to veer off, and they went off to one side and they were able to escape being hit.
I guess you were one of those lucky ones, huh?
Yeah, I was lucky. Well, when I sailed over, I went over on an ammunition ship, and we never got attacked. The convoy was so big that the lead ships in the convoy got hit by torpedoes from submarines. German subs they were just waiting by the
Huh? Are you waiting to interview people? Well, I think I'm going to they want everybody back downstairs, so I think I'm going to get him, and then I'm going to pick it up back at the hotel. So you're not going to interview not on the ship. Maybe later on.
You head up.
Okay? All right. There you go.
It's the hat, I think, covers your eyes a little bit too.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
There you
Well,
go.
does being back on this ship today bring back any memories?
Oh yeah.
Well, tell me about those memories.
A lot of memories of being up at night, all through the night, standing by the guns, and the convoy was just rolling along, and so we were just standing there with the guns loaded and expecting that if they should come and attack us again, we're ready. But they didn't come.
Well, that was a good thing. But I thought you had Navy Guard to man the guns.
We did.
So what was your part in manning the guns?
We had the Navy Armed Guard, they called them, the Armed Guard, and they would put something like 29 Navy guys on a ship and have to put bunks in down below to put them up. And they had nothing to do but sit around all day long and wait to be attacked. So what happened was the government did away with it, and they just put 9 key men to man the guns. The 9 that knew what they were doing. So they eliminated from 29 to 9. And what they did was they asked for volunteers from the merchant seamen. So they got us to volunteer because we were doing nothing anyway. You know, we were there.
But they didn't call you veterans at first. But
No.
you're saying you manned the guns.
Yeah, we did man the guns. We did man the guns. And a lot of ships got sunk in the process, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So how does it feel now? I mean, this 80 years later, you're finally getting recognized with a Congressional Gold Medal. What does that feel like?
Well, it's very satisfying. And all you can say is it's about time. It's about time they got some recognition after all those days and weeks and nights of standing guard and waiting for the submarines to sneak up on you, you know. Yeah, there was time there when the Germans had multiple submarines, and they were good at what they did, and they sunk a lot of ships. They sunk the ships with everything on it, you know. And so some of the ships got hit, and they launched the boats, and they managed to, some of them got picked up, you know. The lifeboats got picked up after they got hit. It's a dreadful thing. Yeah.
Was there any one night, any time, like during a storm or something, that really stands out in your mind when you're manning the guns? Was there any one time that really stands out in your mind?
Well, I would say there were many nights that were scary, you know, and so it was so long ago that I can't remember anymore.
Hard to remember something.
Yeah, you know what questions to ask.
Well, I do know about when on his first trip that had left from here, and they had 700. I don't want to say the number and get it wrong, but they had a lot of howitzer shells. And then on their way back, they actually got a crack in their hull. A 2-inch crack was it, Papa? And they had to stay behind. The convoy left them behind.
Oh.
And a lot of ships sunk from that. So they were that close to not making it right on his first trip. And then he ended up making 10 altogether trips.
Well, can you tell me about your first trip then?
Well, that was it. The first trip was we got caught in the storm in the Pacific, in the Atlantic. Very bad storm, and we were traveling light, so we had no weight. So we were really up and out of the water, and the propeller was spinning, you know, free. And so as we were going up and down, I remember the captain being on the bridge, and he was watching those big waves, you know. And we were light, we had no ballast, and all we had was the propeller was out of the water. Every time the stern went up and the propeller would spin, vibrate the whole ship. It would vibrate, and the ship would then recover and then hit another big wave and do the same thing again. And it just kept doing that. And finally, after we went through the night, we kept slowing down the speed because we had a crack in the side of the hull that was getting worse. And the captain was afraid that if he went any faster, he would hit a big wave and the crack would split and the ship would just slip and go down like that, you know?
So what did you have to do because of that crack?
What did we have to do? We couldn't do anything while we were.
Well, you had to travel very slow and stay behind while the convoy left to make it home alive.
Yeah, well, that was it. We only traveled 4 or 5 knots. Very slow speed just to keep steerage. And as long as we didn't go too fast, we didn't hit the waves too hard, then nothing happened. That's the way it was.
Well, did it make you like a sitting duck out there?
Well, yeah, we were like a sitting duck. We had no other ships around us. We were the only ship that was there. The other ships that still had steerage and they weren't cracking up, the side walls weren't splitting, you know. So as long as they were able to float,
That had to make you really nervous, really scared about going so slow, right?
and the good part about the weather, even though the weather was so bad, it loused us up, you know. But the bad weather kept the submarines away.
There you go.
Yep.
All explained right there.
Yeah.
Bad weather kept the
If
submarine.
the weather would have calmed down, submarines would have surfaced and they would have picked us right off. But because the weather didn't calm down, it just seemed to be getting worse and worse and worse. And we were running into it, and the spray would go up over the bow, cover the whole ship. Every time a big wave would pass over the ship, would just cross over, hit the bridge, you know. The spray would hit the bridge.
What did that feel like? I mean, what did that? Were you out here when it would hit, or?
Well, yeah, you stand lookout on a bridge. So you're right in the middle of it. Exactly in the middle of it as it's going on. And all the while the ship is hitting those big waves, and you're waiting for it to crack one time. And all you can do is sit. The captain, he stayed in the wheelhouse. He never. And all the officers were up and ready in case anything happened.
So that was your first trip.
Yeah.
How many trips did you make?
Oh, I made a lot of trips.
10 trips. How many trips? 10 trips.
I never really counted every single trip.
It's 10.
10.
It's 10 trips.
You have 10 trips listed?
That's, yeah. We got 10 trips total. One of them was completely around the world.
Didn't he fall off the bridge?
Right. There's a couple of also like highlight talking points kind of when he was on the stuff, which I know that we only have